Good Saturday afternoon and welcome back to the shop. We're going to pick up from where we last left off. You can see here I've got my parts pile. Some of it needs to be, the ones with the green tape on it still need to be cleaned and primed. All the other primed pieces need to be sanded and they'll be ready for paint. Also too, I got some other stuff sandblasted. I got an oil pan full of parts, a fan, electrical box. These will be done with Gliptol because that's for the throwout bearing. So there's a few pieces in there. A friend of mine, Dylan, came by today and brought me something really cool. I have PTO shield now for the Farmall M. And yes, it does need a little work, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's American steel, and that's very important. So that's where I am on here. So we're going to walk over here to the other side of the shop, and we'll pick up where I left off last night with the little YouTube short. So let's check it out. Don't pay any attention to the mess because it's too cold to work outside, so I just have to clean up in here real good before I start priming and painting. So I went and got some threaded rod, made legs to get the hub centers up so I can get up under here and paint, and I've got plenty of room to do that. And over here, like I said in the short, I made this little hanger to do wheel weights, and it's working out pretty good. Now in the video short last night, you seen that I had Bondo on here, and I'll explain to you why. The casting on these were really bad. I mean bad, and I'll show you a picture right here. So the reason I'm doing all this is, like I said, the castings were really bad, and putting all this work and effort into restoring this tractor, trying to make it look good. If I didn't do this, that would be the first thing somebody would point out and say, well, why didn't you fix the tractor weights or rear wheel weights? So I'm saving that person the problem of having to bring that to my attention. See, think ahead. So this is the second coat on this side, and like I said, it's still curing out. I got to finish putting the second coat on there. Got a couple other small pieces that I need to do that have rust pits on them. One of them is the rear tank mount. Get this up. Okay, we'll set it right here. The rear tank mount has like little pitted rust, so I want to fill that so it's nice and slick. These two holes here was where the original voltage regulator went. So what we're going to do is I'm going to weld these up, seeing as how I'm putting an alternator on this tractor. I will not need that. And so we're just going to get rid of those two holes and call it done. Well, that's enough jabbering for right now. I will get back to doing all the Bondo on this stuff, and as soon as we get ready for primer, we'll come back and follow up then. So stay tuned for part 3 of this video. Well, here we are. It is 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and I am ready to spray primer because I've got a lot of stuff out in the other part of the shop that's already in primer. So I want to get all of this in primer so I can have a big paint party later on next week. Because it'll probably take me all day Monday and then some to get all this stuff sanded and ready to paint. But let's go over what we've got. Now, like I said, the wheel centers have already been sanded. I've got to finish this one up, but with the overspray from the primer, it's mostly going to be dust. So we'll just knock those down with a piece of Scotch-Brite or something. That'll take care of that. Got the lower bolster, and we got the steering shaft, which goes through the upper bolster and connects to the lower bolster. 2 rear wheel weights. They turned out pretty good. That looks like a little line right there, but we can take care of that after it's primed because the primer will show where I need to sand some more. Look over here at this one, and this one looks pretty good as well. It's sand scratches in it, but you gotta figure all that Bondo and sanding, it's gonna have a few. So let's go on over here. I've got my trio small parts. Excuse me. So we're gonna mix up some primer and get this stuff going, because it looks like I'm gonna be sanding all these pieces all day Monday, because not only do I have this to sand, I've got frame rails and other small pieces out there that are already in primer. So hopefully I can get all this stuff sanded, and then maybe next weekend, starting next Friday night, or I may just wait and do it Saturday morning, just start spraying everything red. And the more I get done, the less I have to worry about, because hopefully the motor will be back, well, the block and the head and the crank will be back in a couple of weeks. So the faster I can get this done and start putting some of this stuff on the transmission, like the wheel centers, the better off I'll be. So let me quit jawing and get over here and mix some primer, and let's start spraying. here we are. It is 9 o'clock. It took me exactly 1 hour to get 3 coats of primer on everything back there. It looks really good. I'm satisfied with it. During the second coat, well, before the second coat, or by the end of the first coat, it got cold in here. So put on a sweatshirt to finish the last 2 coats. But let's look and see what we got. This is the dash where the starter goes. Looks pretty slick. Got a nice little shine to it. So we're gonna just wet sand all this stuff and get it ready to go. But the biggest thing is the wheel weights. And you can see it's a little bit of pit here or there. It's nothing major, but the primer did show everything. I believe once, and like I said, this is metal here. And that right there is where I guess I just didn't get enough filler there, but it's okay. We know they're tractor weights, but it looks a lot better than they did when I first started. So we'll walk over here, look at this one. Same thing here. You can see a little bit, but once they're sanded flat or wet sanded, I'll probably hit them with 180 on a DA and then go back and wet sand them with 400, and that should slick them right on up. So, but that's it. They do look a lot better. I'm not going to complain. Everything over here is looking pretty good. So it's probably going to take me all day Monday and probably some more of the week to get all this stuff sanded, because with what I've got over there, I need to get the frame rails done and a few other things, but I don't want to run out of space or have too much hanging up here where they'll fall. Because with the lower bolster and the steering post and 2 frame rails, it's going to be pretty heavy. So that might be all I'll put up here. But anyway, welcome to all the new subscribers to the channel once again, and welcome back to the continued supporters of the channel. I do appreciate you hanging out and watching me spray a little primer. And I hope you'll tune in for the next episode where we spray red. So as always, have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great one from Old Red Tractors.